depression, and honestly, just so much good rap here. I really enjoyed it. Is He Against the World was a great YA, like middle grade YA kind of book, and I really enjoyed the way that music played a part in this story. I also read the next Percy Jackson book, The Chalice of the Gods. Honestly, Rick Riordan did it again. Great Percy Jackson book. The same character that, if you've read Percy Jackson, you know what's going on. Except this time, it's high school slash finding a way through college. This was a fun one, and I've got the sequel. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Next was Mortified by Christy Jackson and illustrated by, I think it's Rael McGregor, I think. Sorry if you can hear the wind outside. It's really going. But yeah, Mortified. This one was definitely a middle grade book, but the fun thing about this one is it had little comic pages, which was a really interesting addition to the book. The only bad thing was the comic book pages and the beginnings of the next chapter. They really overlapped, sometimes like word for word, which was disappointing. I was hoping that there would be a little bit of like extra content in the comic pages, but that was not what was found here, so still a good book. A good story about like getting more confidence, finding yourself, that kind of thing, which I think it's a good one. We got something related to the channel, sort of. ASMR, The Sleep Revolution by Benjamin Nichols, also known, I believe he is also known as the ASMR gamer, but I took a lot of notes. On this book because at some point I do want to do a informational video on my other channel about ASMR, and this was part one. A lot of good history about ASMR. I'm looking to do a bit more research as well, because those were the physical books that I read. Like, I listened to The Theory of Crows by David Alexander Robertson, which was a really interesting look into the family and trap lines and family cabin with indigenous characters. And we've got History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. A good, interesting look at OCD and anxiety. I also listened to Stella by McCall Hoyle. It was a really interesting look through a dog's eyes at being rehomed and even trauma and traumatic experiences. I also listened to Just Izzy by Karen Wilfred. About self-discovery, standing up for yourself, and it had some good queer rep in it as well. A Guest was a book about the Fae and changelings. That was quite enjoyable. Little and Lion by Brandy Colbert was a book that looked into bipolar disorder disorder, and it's, yeah, I would have preferred a more first-person look at it, personally. So it wasn't exactly my cup of tea. But one book that was The Cat Who Saved Books by Sasuke Natsukawa, translated by Louise Heal Kawai, and narrated by Kevin Shen. Oh, this was such a good book. Like, if you like Studio Ghibli and that kind of thing, like Hayao Miyazaki films, this book felt like a Hayao Miyazaki film, like written down into a novel. It was so cool. A talking cat, a hikikomori, and just his loving friend, and just lots of adventures. That is A Cat Who Saved Books. I dived into the first 3 books in the How to Train Your Dragon series, narrated by the wonderful David Tennant. Oh, I loved David Tennant's narration in these. It was the reason why I finally started listening to these books. It was so good. I love hearing his Scottish accent in this. And I look forward to getting into more of those How to Train Your Dragon books. A book that I reread for the first time in years was Gideon the Cutpurse by Linda Buckley Archer, and narrated by Gerard Doyle. There were some issues with the audiobook, however, as it was quite crackly, even though it was a digital file. It was like it was not a good master tape or something. I don't know. It was kind of disappointing. I still liked the book. The book was great. I always love Gideon the Cutpurse. Such a good trilogy. But the actual audiobook, iffy on that. I also read The Bone Witch by Rin Chupeco, narrated by Emily Wu Zeller and Will Damron. Magic, Witches, and a Ton of History is a book I couldn't put down, honestly. And then I also read the second book in the Sir Callie series, Sir Callie and the Dragon's Roost. Once again, we got our non-binary knight, Callie, and friends, picking up right where the first book left off, without a hitch, and surprisingly expanding on that universe, on that world, so much. I loved it. That was Esme Symes Smith. And then the last 3 books that I read were all part of the Young Wizard series by Diane Duane. We've got A Wizard Abroad, A Wizard's Dilemma, and A Wizard Alone. All amazing continuations of this series. However, there was one that I wasn't as fond of, A Wizard Alone. Now, I assume that the audiobook was a previous publication of it, because there is a New Millennium edition of this book, which changes the autism rep in it, which otherwise I wasn't a huge fan of the autism rep in it, and what was said about autistic folks. Just not great. Not a great way to do that. But otherwise, the other 2 books were amazing. I have loved getting more into the Young Wizards series. Now I'm looking forward to catching up entirely on the Young Wizards series of books, because there's only a few more of them. Now, into 2025, I've already read a few books at this point in time, like the 3rd book in the Sir Callie series, Sir Callie and the Witch's War, the next book in the Young Wizards series, Wizard's Holiday, and are some books I already read in 2025, those 3. But ones that I'm looking to get to in 2025 also include Phantoms, Ghosts, and Other Heartbreaks by Beth Morton. We've got Never Whistle at Night, a Indigenous dark fiction anthology edited together by Shane Hawk and Theodore C. Van Elst Jr. I got this from Wonderpens, as you may have seen in a previous video, a few stories in, and I'm loving it so far. Learning about all these Indigenous myths and mythological figures. It's just really neat. I'm also reading, or rereading, Doctor Who, the TV movie novelization by Gary Russell. This is part of a video that I am looking to make on my other channel. Again, another one. Doing a few of those. But yeah, I read this before, but this is the first time in print that I've read it, and I'm excited about this. This is an updated version that was published in, I believe it's 2021. Yeah, so this was republished in 2021 with additional information, a whole bunch of stuff in the original 1996 publication, which is really, really, really cool. I like that. I haven't got very far into it, but it is part of research for another video that I'm doing. And then the ones that I have yet to get to. The next in the Percy Jackson series, Wrath of the Triple Goddess by Rick Riordan, as it were, about Percy Jackson in high school. Potentially one of my reads of the year. I also wanted to get to The Tapestry of Time by Kate Hartfield, about some psychic people looking back into the year of 1066. I know I've heard really, really good things about this. And then a series that I've been meaning to get to for years now has been Terry Pratchett's Discworld. I've got the first 6 books. Yeah, I've got the first 6 books of this series. But I want to at least read the first book, The Color of Magic. I've heard so many good things about the Discworld series. I don't think it's going to let me down. Now, of course, I'm also looking to get into some other series as well. Like, I am looking to read the next books in the Young Wizards series. I might try diving into the short fiction or the additional novels in the Young Wizards series as well, but I really want to finish up and get up to date with the Young Wizards series because it is so good so far, and I have been wanting to get into these books for years now, so I'm excited that I've been able to so far. But yeah, those are the books that I have read in 2024 and want to read in 2025. Are these books that you're familiar with? Am I missing one that you think I should check out? Let me know down in the comments. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and as always, I wish you